Hi guys, it's Tania Willis and I'm back for a Little Yellow Bicycle. I'm going to show you today how to make some custom flower embellishments using the Twig collection. This is the layout that you'll be making today with the instructions. I'm going to show you how to make custom flowers using the doilies and the button dots, as well as the leaf paper from the collection and the die cut paper that has special glitter on it. So we're going to learn how to make this flower here, this one here, as well as this one here on the layout. And then I'm also going to show you how to do the paint splatters here on the layout. There's a really quick, easy way for doing that and getting them perfect every time. Before we get started, I quickly want to show you the products that we'll be using. There'll be 3 12x12 pattern papers along with the die cut sheet of pattern paper, paper doilies, the flower button dots, the favorite pieces cardstock stickers, the Fresh Verse cardstock stickers, the canvas sticker borders, and the chipboard sticker embellishments. The first thing I wanted to show you was how to build the base of your layout before we do the paint splatters. This part is very important so that you can use all pieces of this die cut sheet. So the first thing I want you to do is cut a straight slit right through one of the scallops and then start cutting all the way around your border so that you're leaving the green attached to the scalloped part of the paper. Once you have that cut apart, set the scalloped piece aside because we'll use that to build one of the flowers a little bit later, but we're going to use this full circle to build our background. The next thing that you'll need to do to this circle is to scuff up the edge all the way around. There are special tools out on the market to do just that, the little razors, but one of my favorite ways to do it other than using those tools is to use just a pair of scissors opened as wide as they can, and then you just simply scrape it along the edge all the way around your page. And it'll scuff it up just enough to give it a nice distressed look. Okay, now following the downloadable instructions, I have built the base layer of my layout, which is just the background paper that's green here, this round piece that was cut from the die cut paper, and then this blue piece here on the bottom. Now before I add anything else, I want to add paint splatters to it, which is a really popular trend right now, so I'm going to show you how to do just that. In order to do the paint splatters, you're going to need a few things. You're going to need a small dish. You're going to need acrylic paint. I used white, but you can use black or brown, cream, whichever color you'd prefer. You'll need a small amount of water and a watercolor paintbrush. I just used one for my kids' craft cabinet. You could use any paintbrush, it doesn't matter. The first thing you're going to do is pour a small amount of paint into your dish, and then you're going to add just a little bit of water. I say 50-50 water and paint. If you do that and stir it up and decide that it's too runny, then you can always add more paint. So you want it to be watery, but not so watery that when you pick your brush up that it drips back into the bowl. So you want it to be just thick enough that it stays on your brush there. Once you have that mixed up, you're going to take your brush, hold it parallel to your page, and then just tap it along your finger. If you want more controlled splatters, you can tap on the top of the brush and tap downward, and it'll go directly below where the bristles are. So this is what it looks like, and as you can see, you get some bigger splotches and some smaller splotches. I've learned that the thinner your paint is, the larger the splotches are. So if you want it to be a finer splatter, more like a mist, then you're going to want to use more paint and less water. So you're going to need 4 things to make the doily flowers. You're going to need a small doily, you're going to need the package of flower button dots, some mini glue dots, and a paper piercing tool. So the first thing you're going to do is hold your doily just like this, and then I kind of pinch it in the center. So I'll show you again. It's out, and then you pinch it in the center, and then tuck in each of those sides. So basically you're just gathering the center up like it's ruffled instead of cutting it apart and gathering it into a ruffle yourself. To hold that there, you'll need about 3 mini glue dots. So you'll just lift your thumb up there and stick a glue dot on in. I love to put glue dots on my paper piercing tool because then they don't stick to my fingers. So once you get it on there, you can just manipulate it until they're gathered up. It doesn't matter how messy the center looks because then we're just going to cover that up with a button dot. So before you put the button dot on, it looks something like this. So then all you have to do is put your button dot right on top of it. And then you can manipulate the doily a little bit more until you get it to how you like it. So to create the largest flower embellishment on the layout, I used these leaves and turned them into flower petals. So you want to cut out 6 leaves. It doesn't matter what pattern they are, but you want them to be about the same size. So you don't want to cut out 4 big ones and then 2 of the little ones. You can use a combination of patterns, or once you cut the leaf out, you can turn them over and then the leaf, they'll all just have this pattern on them, so all the petals can be the same if you'd like. Okay, so here you see I have all of my leaves cut out. There's 6 of them, and the next thing you'll need to do is cut out a circle that is about 1.5 inches in diameter. It doesn't matter what color the paper is, it's not going to show up. I made mine orange just so that you can see easier in this video. The next thing you're going to do to these leaves is you're just going to crumble them all up like you're throwing them away. So just wad them all up. You can crumble them and then open them back up and crumble them the opposite direction, just until you get a real good texture there. I like a lot of texture and dimension on my layouts. If you don't, that's fine. Another way that you can get the dimension without crumbling them that way, it's a little bit different kind of a dimension, but you can just roll these leaves. Paper is very easy to manipulate right there. So once it lays on your layout, it's got a little bit of a lift, but not as much as if you were to crumble it. So whichever way you prefer. Now you're ready to build your flower. So what I've done is just attached these leaves as my petals, one going up and one going straight down. Then I'm going to attach the other 2 to this side. And I'm just using glue dots for this. You can use any kind of adhesive you'd like. And then the other 2 to the opposite side. Once that's done, then you can take your paper doily with the flower button dot and add right to the center. And then you can manipulate your petals even more to get the texture and dimension that you want and to shape your flower just like you want. So here's the flower. And here's where you can see it on the finished layout. For the last flower, you'll need 2 strips that are each 6 scallops long. So you'll count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and cut 2 of those from the excess that you cut off of the circle die cut paper. You'll also need another circle, and this one I've covered with some glue dots, and you'll need a flower button dot for the center. So to create this flower, you're going to take the first scallop and bend over the bottom right there and pinch it together so it visually forms the shape of like a heart. You're going to move to the next one and pinch that one as well. And you're going to keep going until you have all the scallops pinched together. And you can see as you do that, it forms the circle shape for you already. I found it very difficult to manipulate the flower all the way around like this because it gets kind of thick and your thumb and finger can't pinch that much and keep it all together. So you want to do 2 of these and then put them here on the circle. And as you let go, the creases will stay there, but the accordion will kind of open back up a little bit. So once you get that on there, then you can take additional glue dots and put in between each little crease there, or your regular wet adhesive, whichever you like. I find if you use wet adhesive, you gotta hold it there until it dries, and it takes forever, then your fingers get all sticky. So I prefer glue dots, and that's what I recommend. So you're gonna take that and do the same thing with the other strip. The last thing that you'll want to do is add your flower button dot and then fold up the edges of each of the petals to give it a little bit more dimension. And here you can see that flower on the layout.